So, guys and girls, want to touch on a topic. I'm going to try and do quite a few videos in the next few days just to try and cover a couple of topics, and some of them overlap because, you know, as I mentioned before, the way you create health is the same way. The way you heal anything is the way you heal everything, with a few subtle differences. But get lots of messages all the time, people talking about how tired they are, how fatigued they are, how they struggle to get out of bed. So I'm going to ask you, like, does this sound like you? Are you at a place where maybe, even though you're eating better than you have, if you're not eating well, then you know that's going to contribute. But even though you've been eating really well, even though you've been trying to get to the gym and exercise, you still feel exhausted, and getting to the gym is actually a struggle. I mean, you're going there because you know you're meant to exercise, or you get told it's good for you, and you're eating certain foods, you're eating lower calories than you ever had before, or you're eating lots of greens, but you're still feeling exhausted and tired. And every day, you might even sleep 6, 7, 8 hours, but you wake up feeling like you never rested, and feeling like you can have a couple more hours sleep. If that sounds like you, then don't worry, you're not alone. You're with millions of other people going through exactly the same issues. And I know what it can be like. Sometimes you sit there and go, well, I'm eating better, I'm going to the gym. I don't know what I need to do to start to get my energy up. I've been doing all these things that people are saying gonna increase my energy, and maybe you're even turning to things like stimulants, like coffee, or having pre-workouts and things like that to try and get energy. And maybe even in the afternoon you have another coffee to try and pick you up. It's a cycle that many people go through. Now, the reason this happens for the majority of people, obviously everyone's different. There's a few subtle differences that certain people might have to look into. But the reason this happens for most people, to try and sort the camera out, is because health and energy and your vitality and your zest for life is a lot more than just nutrition, and a lot more than just exercise. A lot of people just put, I'm going to lose weight, eat less, move more, or I'm going to be healthy, I'm going to eat more greens, or more good high quality foods, and I'm going to exercise. And a lot of the time it has a counterintuitive effect. It actually sometimes, which I'm going to go into another video on this, but it can lead to weight gain, etc. And people feel exhausted. They don't feel good. They might even sometimes look okay. We call these fit, sick people. They might look okay, but they're actually ill, and they don't tell anyone. And I know I've been getting messages. I get even a lot from top end athletes or people that are competing for their country. And willpower is an amazing thing. It can drag you through feeling awful. Football players, sportsmen do it all the time. Even though they're injured, their willpower will drag them through and get them on the pitch, even though they don't feel well, even though they don't feel good, until eventually one day, boom, a big injury or an illness means they have to look into doing things differently to continuing to keep themselves healthy. It's amazing. We're in this Western society where it's almost, I do a lot of clients in America and Canada. It's even worse over there, where their job is everything to them. It's almost like a badge of honour to feel exhausted. Oh, I got up this early, I finished work this late, I didn't do anything else except for just work in between. And it's the same over here. People trying to do too much, putting too much on their plate, and even though they're eating well and they're exercising, all those things, the food's good, but the exercise a lot of the time can be hugely detrimental to people that are chronically exhausted. It's almost like if you keep on smashing a plate, it becomes harder and harder to put that plate back together. And exercise just becomes another stress that the body has to deal with. The body summates stress. So this is why I always say to people, there's a reason we have 4 seasons. We have 4 seasons. We don't just have summer all the time. Obviously we have summer, then we go through autumn like we are now, we go through winter, and then we have spring. And if you're constantly pushing yourself, you know, in that state of summer, what would happen is what farmers really, I mean, they cross their fingers, they never have to deal with it, something called burnout, you know, where literally, it's like what you get as an isis turns into an osis, is in terms of an injury. Burnout, you can't come back from that. It's literally, you know, you have to have a miracle on your side to try and get back from that. And it's what a lot of people are doing in today's world. They're literally digging a hole, jumping in and burying themselves over, because it comes down to far more than just, as I said before, food and exercise. There's many other factors you need to look into. And as I said before, the body's summate stress. So if it's coming from poor water supply, if it's coming from poor food, poor sleep, over-exercise, you know, over-exercising in today's world of CrossFit and F45 and all these things, you know, that are, these things can push the body into adrenal fatigue, adrenal exhaustion, and they can push the body into survival mode where it actually starts to hold on to water and to fat rather than... This is why I think people like, there's other coaches, other nutritionists, dietists, they talk about, you know, if it fits your macros and as long as you're in a calorie deficit, you're going to lose weight. Well, it's absolute bullshit, for want of a better word. I'm not going to say because Facebook don't like it. I'm just going to be me. It's bullshit. Because what happens when you exhaust someone's adrenals and exhaust and their hormones are all out of balance? You know, their body starts to cling on to water. It starts to cling on to fat. And they're never in a rested state. They're constantly in their fight and flight nervous system, you know, rather than their rest, recover and digest. And it means they're never assimilating food properly, they're never getting a chance to heal, recover, and it becomes like someone not knowing what to do, they don't know where to turn. And this is why I always talk about health being lots of 6 main factors, but lots of different factors when it comes to thinking, you know, thinking or thought, breathing, hydration, food, exercise, and obviously there's rest and recover. You need to have a balance. So whatever you're doing, if you're exhausting yourself, if you're working really hard in your job and then you're going to the gym and you're destroying the gym, you know, you need to have that balance on the other side. You need to have days where you're doing less. Maybe you're doing things like going for a massage or doing stretching, or hydrating and eating really well. You know, you need to have those days amongst nature. You can't just constantly be pushing yourself and then wondering why you're not feeling good just because you're exercising and eating. Okay, there's many different factors to this, and it's something I go into in my book, The Chronic Fatigue Solution. So I deal with a lot of clients with, and so you have to look at different factors. Obviously, and then if you're adding to that stress by putting toxic chemicals on your skin, or maybe perfumes, or maybe you're working in a toxic environment because, you know, the air inside buildings is 10 times more, has 10 times more pollutants than the outside air. And then you look at the EMFs and the frequencies that you're living in. Maybe you're working or living across a geopathic stress line or fault line. There's a million and one things that's going on. But if you're constantly pushing yourself to the brink and then you're wondering why you're chronically exhausted, it's time to have a look. And the best thing about this is you just have to do less. Doing less. I deal with a lot of women who come to me, and we call it rushing women syndrome, where they're rushing around, they're actually trying to live like a man in a woman's body. Don't care what the feminists try and tell you, we're very, very different. Men are like pickup trucks, you can flog us to pieces, and eventually, one day, we will break down. But it takes a long period of time because we have a more robust hormonal profile than women do. Whereas women, you know, they're like Ferraris, they look fantastic. Once a month they have an issue, and they need special care and attention because they're meant to have enough resources on board for 2 people, not just one. Exactly, man-made environment, very different to being about amongst nature. And this is what I say, you know, a lot of people are trying to be everything to everyone. They're trying to have the best job, be in the best shape, you know, have a great relationship, just be on the go all the time, trying to achieve more, or try to live up to other people's expectations. And a lot of people are actually trying to live dreams and goals that are not even theirs. I always say to people, next time you think about negative things about yourself, how many of those actually come from you, and how many of them actually come from other people that they've said to you? How many other people's thoughts and feelings and negative emotions and even dreams and goals they've got for you rather than yours. So if you are exhausted, if you are constantly struggling to get out of bed, tired all the time, even though you're going to the gym and eating well, maybe it's time to look at other factors. Are you giving your body and your mind the love and nurture that it needs? Start to treat yourself like someone you love. You know, if someone you love was saying this to you, what would you say to them? You said, well, you'd say maybe it's time to rest. Maybe instead of going to the gym and 3-4 times a week and going really hard and feeling exhausted, maybe it's time to go for a walk amongst nature, you know, or maybe do some stretching, or maybe just go and spend some time amongst friends and family, or do something else, pick up a hobby. In this world, we've actually, in the Western society, we've created it where it's almost a negative thing to have a day off. The only time you can actually rest is when people get ill. If you rest beforehand, you know, they always say the best cure for any illness, any disease, especially things like cancer, is prevention, not getting it in the first place. And to do that, you have to take care of yourself, and treat yourself like someone you love. And pushing yourself to the brink all the time, you know, use an analogy, if you fill up a car and you put your foot to the floor and you're going down the motorway, that car's going to run out of petrol a lot sooner than if you keep it at a nice constant, 50, 60 mile an hour. Or even sometimes you might go quicker, sometimes you go slower, you know. And so this is what you have to look into. Not just nutrition and working out, but maybe do things to work in. Things like Qigong, Tai Chi, journaling, different things, arts and crafts, drawing, whatever it may be. You know, breathing is huge. And then when you're going to the gym, if you're feeling exhausted, don't push yourself to the limit. Just do a few things, that maybe just a few kettlebell swings, or go do a few movements. Maybe even start to stretch. Get a yoga class, like a yin yoga class. Make sure that your body's not being negatively affected by all the things in your environment. I've sort of rambled on here. There's lots that I could go into, and I go into it in the book. But I know this is a topic that a lot of people struggle with. And I'm going to go into the weight gain in another one, but a lot of people, even though they're doing all this, they continue to gain weight. Ryan, I've been training 3, 4, 5 times a week, I'm eating less, I'm still gaining weight. Oh, it's funny that, because people like Mr. Martin McDonald talk about how if you eat less and train more and you're in a calorie surplus, or if you're in a calorie deficit, you're always going to lose weight. Funny how it doesn't work that way for a lot of people when their hormones are out of balance, and their adrenals are almost burnt out, and their body's not assimilating, digesting, metabolizing, or eliminating food. It's amazing how that doesn't happen. But when you get the body into equilibrium and into balance, how you going to tell? Get the body into equilibrium and into balance, it will find its natural weight. So yeah, it's my little take on that for today. Lots of different things that go into being healthy and creating energy. And you're not going to get it through stimulants like coffee and caffeine-based drinks, or what the Red Indians call empty fire. These things that give you the illusion of energy. Energy should come from within. Same as like your thoughts, your feelings, your mental clarity. All this, it comes from within. You know, a healthy exterior is made by a healthy interior. And so, if you have been struggling with any of these issues and you're looking for help, then obviously you can always send me an inbox or send me an email at ryan@reviveyourself.co, and we can have a chat about how we can help you get through this and return you to where you want to be, because I know what it's like to be there. I was stricken on the couch myself, going through lots of things, and just want to be yourself, you know, want to go out and spend time with your friends and family, do the hobbies you love, you know, maybe you spend time with your partner or whatever it is that you enjoy doing. And when you're that exhausted and you can't even spend time with your kids or enjoy your time with your friends and family, then life becomes a bit of a bore, because you're literally just doing these things a lot of time you don't want to do, and you come back and all you can do is just feel exhausted, fall maybe onto your bed or into the couch and numb yourself out with TV, and that's no way to live if you want to enjoy life. You know, we're meant to be out there experiencing life. So as I said before, if you're experiencing this, give me a shout, give me an inbox, or send an email to ryan@reviveyourself.co. Otherwise, take on board everything I said here. Whatever you're doing in excess, yeah, of course, it can, 100%. It tells me if you drink a lot of coffee and it gives you less energy, it tells me that your adrenals are basically almost burnt out there, and it makes you quite ratty, because it's a central nervous system stimulant, which can spike your central nervous system, and it means that you're much more reactive to things than you would normally be. you've actually gone past where your equilibrium is, your balance. It's why we talk about having responses rather than reactions. There's a great book out there called Caffeine Blues. It talks about, coffee is not a health drink. Yes, it's full of antioxidants, but there's many other foods and teas and things you can drink out there full of antioxidants, but it's a central nervous system stimulant. It depletes the body of vitamins and minerals. It decreases oxygen to the brain first 30 minutes by 40%. There's lots of things you can get out there and have instead. So, energy comes from within. It comes from your sleep cycle, the water you're having, the food you're having. Also, you need to look into mental and emotional stresses. The body summates stress. So if you've got romantic issues, if you've got financial issues, and maybe someone have an energy drink, you fall asleep, tells me your hormones, your adrenals, your body's internally imbalanced, and this is why you need to deal with these problems. And once you start to put into place all the pieces of the puzzle, it's amazing how the body reacts. I deal with it time and time again. It's why you see that I put up testimonials because I want people to understand, the people that are following me, that no matter what their health issue is, we can return them to full health and get their zest of life back and get their body working how it's meant to work. The body has an innate ability to heal itself. It just needs to be given the right circumstances to do so. And we have to get out of our own way. I always like to say, you can't dry off when you're still in the shower. And there's a reason why these issues are having their effect on you. You have to first get out of the shower, then you can dry off. Lots of different factors. And pushing yourself in the gym to exhaustion isn't going to give you health. In fact, it's going to take health away from you. And a lot of the time, it's not going to decrease your body fat. It's going to make it, it's going to actually get your body to hold on to water, hold on to fat, because it goes into survival mode. And so, as I said before, health and energy comes from within. We've almost got to the stage where health and performance are mutually exclusive in the world. Even though a healthy body will outperform an unhealthy body 100 times out of 100. And so people go for these short-term fixes and trying to get themselves energized for the gym. But if one of the quotes it said, if you don't feel like you can outperform yourself in the gym by 3% more than you could the day before, then you don't belong in the gym. You need to do some yin work. Yin is in work, working in, rather than yang, working out, Masculine, fire, energy, yang. Feminine, recovery, yin. And it's something that this world, we need to go back to the principles, It's why when you grow a plant, it needs to have the right amount of water, yin, it needs to have the right amount of yang, sun. You can't grow a plant with all water. What happens? It drowns. Or all sun. What happens? It gets burnt up and it gets dried out and dehydrated. So take that on board. Okay, think about all the things in your life that are there, that are yang, which are good, and the yin. And if you're doing too much fire, too many things that are going to burn you out, and not enough things that are going to cause rest and recovery, then you need to look at that balance. And similarly, the other way around, if you're doing too many things that are rest and recovery and not enough things that are going to produce the yang in your life, then you need to look into that as well. So hopefully this has helped, guys and girls. But yeah, smashing yourself in the gym isn't going to create health if you're doing a lot of other things that are not creating balance. Anyway, that's it for today. As I said before, my book, Chronic Fatigue Solutions, is going to help a lot with this. But if you are looking for one-to-one support and this is something a puzzle that you haven't been able to fix, I always say to people don't pay me for information, because there's so much information out there. They always come to coaches like myself for implementation and getting things right, and someone putting a program, laying out a program for them is something easy to follow, because I know how hard it can be to try. And a lot of people sit there and they throw a lot of stuff at the wall hoping some of it will stick, looking for magic bullet approaches, but it's having that guidance and having something to follow which makes a huge difference, because it also removes a lot of overwhelm. And a lot of people are overwhelmed or thinking, if I do this, that might not work, so I might do that, and never know what to do, so they end up doing nothing. So having someone that or having a program that is going to make it very easy for them to follow, takes away all the overwhelm, all the confusion, and allows them to get on with it is huge for most people. Anyway, that's it for today, guys and girls. As I said before, if you are dealing with this, send me an inbox or hit me up at ryan@reviveyourself.co, and we can have a chat about how we can help you. Otherwise, as always, stay happy, stay healthy, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.